All right, ready to start?
No.
Just stretching everywhere. And then take a good base to start from so you can go over with your knees unlocked and just let your head take you straight over. To that halfway position. And then lean comfortably just above the knees and feel your back arching over. The big yawn. And your back is just filling up with air. Is like, it's like you've got a wall right in front of you here, and then you've got a wall right behind you, so that you're not going to lean forward any, because there's a wall. You're not going to lean back. See if I can show that on a camera better. Yeah, you're not going to lean back because there's a wall. You're not going to go forward because there's a wall. So that means you can only go straight over to the side. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like there's a wall in front of you and behind you, because it's important to keep your spine in that position. So now going over to the other side. Bringing the head and chin up last. From the shoulder and the other shoulder. Okay. In school economies, and although efficiencies is the subject of ongoing research. Part of this proposal is the thought that no financial institution should be so large or complex that it cannot be allowed to fail, like any other private business, with losses to its equity holders and creditors, and consequences for senior management. Consonant energy leading now, with good tone and support. Today, the market still appears to provide a subsidy of changing and uncertain amount to very large banks to account for the possibility of government bailout in the event of failure.
Today, the market still appears to provide a subsidy of changing an uncertain amount to very large banks to.
Today, few ideas can be less controversial than ending too big to fail. The question is how, and there are differing opinions on that. In Titles 1 and 2 of Dodd-Frank, Congress has given the regulators a game plan for ending too big to fail. The regulators, including the Federal Reserve, are forcing implementing the plan we have been given. My own view is that the framework of current reforms is promising and should be given time to work. In any case, too big to fail must end, even if more intrusive measures prove necessary in the end. Thank you very much. 32 seconds.
Wow. 3, 2, 1. Today, few ideas can be less controversial than ending too big to fail. The question is how, and there are differing opinions on that. In Titles 1 and 2 of Dodd-Frank, Congress has given the regulators a game plan for ending too big to fail. The regulators, including the Federal Reserve, are forcefully implementing the plan we have been given. My own view is that the framework of current reforms is promising and should be given time to work. In any case, too big to fail must end, and even if more intrusive measures prove necessary in the end. Thank you very much.
38.5.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Let's just see if you can get it a little bit faster. And
the question is,
yeah, the question
that is preventing the affiliation of commercial banks.
Okay, hold on a second though. Let's while you're doing this now, let's focus on the operative words, and you can take more time with those. But you see you don't need to necessarily take much time with those if you do it with pitch. If you change the pitch on say the two operative words in that first line, resurrection, prohibitions. That's the whole idea, isn't it? It's about resurrection of prohibitions. Then all the rest of the words there you can go over quickly. Some of the resurrection of the 1930s, affected may be important, depending upon the context of the sentence. But again, almost any three-letter and two-letter word, is not important. So those are the ones to look for, connecting together, not affected by.
Not affected by. Not affected by. Not affected by the repeal of Glass-Steagall. Not affected by the repeal of Glass-Steagall.
I see another one coming right up. Now engage in. Now engage in.
Now engage in. Now engage in.
But use that W to connect. There's a W connect. Now when. Now engage. Because when you do that, then it really becomes like one word. Now engage in.
Now engage in.
Yeah, that W, words end with it preceded by a word ending in a W is going to have a W link, and it's going to really help you. Now engage in.
Now engage in. Now engage in. Now engage in. Now engage in.
Training, it's good for you now not to be so careful with getting everything perfectly articulated, but instead experimenting more now with getting that variety in tempo rhythm and speeding up in places where you can and really taking the time to go up in pitch in the places where you need to. And don't be, so careful just to get every word, because it just makes you much more interesting when you do that.
The combination of these activities.
Afraid to just jump into it and say, look, there's 5 little words together, I can just skip over them quickly. There are also calls to further limit. I would do it like that, because further limit is the idea. There are also calls to further limit.
I see. Because
for the purposes of training, don't be afraid to make mistakes. This word total, you're pronouncing it with a British pronunciation with that medial T, which is okay, because, I don't correct your British pronunciation most of the time. But you should just know that it might be easier to say as a D, because Americans will say total.
Total. Okay. The total liability of the total liabilities of financial firms in the United States.
Is important.
Smaller, simpler financial firms.
And again, it's not, with operative words, it's not just a clear-cut important, not important. There's a relative importance too. And in fact, what actors do in the script is they use a demarcation system like this. They put a single dash right above the operative word. And a more important operative word, they go dash dash on top, 2 little marks. That's the system that I learned, right? So you've got, very important and just important.
There's more stringent regulations in handling the bad debt
Yeah, you really want to not emphasize the modifier more stringent, but more stringent. And
Stringent.
and also it's that word has got a lot of consonant texture, right?
Stringent.
With
Yes.
with those N's and the T, stringent. Stringent.
Stringent.
Yeah.
Stringent. Stringent.
But
Is that
you've got to tap the T.
stringent?
Yeah.
Okay, stringent.
And think about it, when you're tapping the T is like snapping a whip too. It's like we're going to be more stringent. Stringent. It's one of those sounds that supports the meaning of the word. Stringent.
Oh, stringent.
Mm-hmm.
Stringent.
Now it sounds like you're an enforcer when you tap that T.
Oh, stringent.
Yeah.
Stringent.
Just playing consonant to consonant. Remember that another reason it's good for us to be working like we are now on this. Notice how fast I'm speaking there. Another reason for that is emphasizing playing consonant to consonant, because that's really how you do speed. You play consonant to consonant. That's what saves time, not lingering on the vowels.
Decoupling. Freely. In the US, you can see that they have been fined hugely for their illegal or immoral activities in the past.
You can see that. You can see that. You can see that they've been fined. You can see that.
Yes, you can see that they've been fined for billions of dollars for their wrongdoings in the past. But still, the chairman
in the past.
is
in the past.
In the past.
What I'm doing right now is like repeating the good things that you're doing.
Okay. You can see that Jamie Dimon is still holding the
You can see that.
position. You can see that. It's to break up the banks into smaller pieces.
Break up. Break up. Break up.
Break up.
Be sure you feel vibration on those A sounds in particular. Break. Yeah. Break up.
Break up. Break up. That cup. Break up. Break up. Like breaking a cup.
Just feel the longer E in the second half of that long A. A. Just feel the buzz of that E, that vibration. Every time you make an A, be sure you feel that, because that's still one of your weaknesses. You know, that A sound coming out too much like break up, coming out too much, or maybe not that bad, but not really a buzz either. Break up.
Breaking up.
Yeah, make a big difference.
Breaking up. For example, there's an idea to break
because
up
those are your
all
tonal anchors anyhow, E and A. So it'll make a big difference if you really, again, overdo it. Overdo it. Yeah.
Overdo it. Okay.
Overdo it. Break up. And again, it's one of those things. Does it really sound that bad? If I hold it for that long, break up in a conversation. People are not going to think. They're not going to realize that you're training yourself, right? They're not going to realize that you've been told to say it that way. They're not going to even notice the difference, are they? Break up. They're not going to notice the difference, but it will be better sounding. That's all. Break up. Be sure you do too much of it. Break up. Break up. Break up. Take up.
To take up all the options. To take up.
Take up. Take up. See, you're going to underplay it. You're going to do. I know you will, because you're a little weak on that plus Y sound anyhow.
No.
Yeah, and you're going. You see, not right after I tell you to overdo it, you barely do it.
Okay. Take up. Take up.
Yeah, if you keep thinking of it like that, then when you are in the real world, it will come down to like a level nobody will notice the difference.
Actually, to know each and every one of us.
Each,
Each,
not itch.
each, each. Why the bank has to know each and every one of us?
See,
Each
the
and
way you
every
said
one
it right there, I imagine how that sounded like in a room with your associates around you saying it like that, and it just sounds good. It sounds like too much to you, right? It sounds like too much, like you're overdoing it. But it just, I'm sure it just sounds good in the real world, in the conversation. Doesn't sound like too much. Each and every one of them.
each and every one of us.
It just sounds
Each
good.
and every one of us.
Just sounds
Each
good.
and every one of
You
us.
can't do too much of the E and the A.
Easy. It is easy to do. I mean, those legal questions, the questions that you can
Questions. This
legally
is
ask.
that TY, the TY that's missing.
Question,
Questions.
questions,
Yeah,
questions,
yeah.
or questions, questions, questions that you can legally ask. Loan application?
Selective loan application. That's where you need a better 21. Oh,
Select loan application.
yeah, because it sounded more like loan application.
Non-effective loan application.
Hmm. All right, now this week try and carry over. Just what we've been doing here, because this is progress, really, what we did today. Uh, and I think this is a good way to continue working. Pretty much right what we're doing now. Making all those little phrases together really helps. It really makes the important stuff stand out, and it makes it sound, like I said before, more interesting. Just by adding tempo and rhythm, it's not just that all along one level, and it's just makes you become more interesting to listen to. Even if changing the tempo rhythms has no particular point to it, like I just did there.
Okay.
Yeah. Even if changing the tempo rhythms has no particular point to it, throw it in. Just throw it in, just to break up your pattern and make it more interesting. Lead from, because that's good to warm up with, some text, and then get right into more free speaking about that, whatever subject it is, and it doesn't have to necessarily be Ben Bernanke.
Okay. Because no more Bank Bernanke. I think it's Yellen, the lady. Okay.
Let's see. We'll start reading her articles then.
Okay, see you next
Okay.
time.
Bye bye.